Okay.
So keep going.
But that was that. And I'm all, and he's coming from a fantasy league wrestling little group I'm dealing with on Facebook. So we got ourselves a pretty good type of fandom thing going on.
Yeah.
So let me see. I'm gonna have to. Let's see. Yeah.
So basically, it was just a big tribute to all of us who passed away last year.
Yeah.
No, it was very sad, very tragic too.
Tough with everybody going through COVID and all that, tough way to
Were you able to find it?
Yes, I was. Thank you. Yes,
Okay.
I was.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, we definitely have a lot to discuss today on this second edition.
Yes.
So, for those who don't know me, I go by Showtime Jr. or the Duke on IG. So, anybody that is catching this via Facebook or IG, give a like, give a follow.
And I'll link
our host.
Yeah, I'll link all of his accounts in the description, like I did last time, so you can give him a follow.
And here we are. Well, let me also first start off by saying shout out to Impact Wrestling, shout out to AEW as well as WWE for a lot of our current wrestlers who come from Atlanta, who come from Florida and the surrounding areas, and this wrestling school that I'm very fond of, WWA4. You can also find them on IG. They do free wrestling shows every Thursday night. I'm very fond of them. Current guys and girls who are living out their dream have come through that pipeline. So if any of them are following this or hearing this, shout out to y'all. So with that being said, let's get rolling.
Yeah, let's do it.
So first and foremost, we're gonna start on a somber note with acknowledging everybody that we lost in 2020 with the professional wrestling community. And I gotta say, I really don't know a lot of these people, but for the ones that I did know, I was very, very shocked and very taken aback by how they passed or what they were doing that led up to them passing away. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll have to start with January. For those who probably forgot, last year started out with the passing of Kobe Bryant, but that's a whole different story. And later, probably not even a few weeks after that, we got the passing of Rocky Johnson, the Rock's dad, for those who follow the Polynesian, Hawaiian wrestling community.
Samoan.
Rocky Johnson was the All-American Alpha Male. And for those who don't remember, his tag team partner won Tony Atlas. I don't recall what their tag team was, but
I don't think they had a name.
I'd have to look that up, but they were the first African American tag team champions in pro wrestling. So there is a Black History Golden Nugget to start off Black History Month as well. So that was for the month of January. And then fortunately, we didn't get anything in February and we didn't get anything in March. So that was kind of a sigh of relief, good breathing, woosah. But unfortunately, it came back to bite us in the butt back in April. And then in May of last year, with the loss of Shad Gaspar, saving his son out in LA. And I gotta say, LA is
it's sad.
Something else. It's a lot that way. Mercy.
I know where you're getting at with that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with that. Mercy. Same with Howard Finkel, passing away in April. I'm not really sure the details on his passing, but I'm sure those that had better knowledge of it, I'm sure they could speak on it a lot better than I could.
Mm-hmm.
But that was in April of last year. Again, Shad Gaspar was in May, as well as not even 5 days after, this young lady by the name of Hana Kimura.
Hana Kimura. She was in Stardom. She wrestled in Stardom. She's the daughter of legendary Joshi wrestler Kyoko Kimura. And that's what she was known for. She was taking part in a reality show shortly before she unfortunately took her own life. And when it comes to public figures that take their own lives, there's kind of like this blame game. It is very delicate because I don't want to go too deep into it, but she was on a reality show. But what I understood and did my research on, because I never had watched the show, she got a lot of hate and malicious comments from viewers of the show. And I guess some fans were beginning to link that pressure for those malicious comments kind of linked to her suicide. But we don't want to point the fingers as well. So, and it also goes to show that, mental health in the wrestling community is something that it should be talked about more, a definite conversation that should be had more.
Oh, definitely. That was a factor that I actually didn't even know was taken lightly, but I kind of had an inkling that mental health was going to play a part in professional wrestling, with the story behind the infamous situation with Chris Benoit that was done here 14 years ago.
Yeah, there's still a lot of division in regards to that situation as well.
And so it's just I really did not understand that whole deal, but that was, unfortunately, that was in May of 2020 for those in a 5-day span. So the wrestling community definitely did not get a chance to grieve peacefully. One tragedy followed by another. The month of May was definitely hard. And then comes the month of June. For those who follow the wrestling era of the 1960s, 70s, mid 50s, there was Mr. Wrestling number 2. His partner, I believe, was also Mr. Wrestling number 1. Hopefully, if we review this, Dexter could help me do research on that. and that person passed in June. I believe some of his matches are on the WWE Network under WCW's video library. I'd have to check and see on that one. But that was the month of June. And then from August to the remaining of the year, August, September, October, November, and December, we lost Kamala. For those who don't remember him, he was well known with his manager, Mr. Harvey Wilperman, and Slick. I really don't know what their chemistry was, but they made it work. Some of his best matches were with The Undertaker. So, unfortunately, he passed on August right shortly after my birthday. So, I really didn't get to see much of his career. And then for September, unfortunately, we lost the second World Warrior Animal. I'm sure everyone remembers. We lost his partner, Road Warrior Hawk, 17 years ago in 2003. And I'm not sure what his situation was, but being 60 years of age is fairly young in the business for that time period to be no longer with us. So that was for the month of September. The month of October, we lost Tracy Smothers. I'm not too familiar with him. I'm assuming he was one of the Mid-South Wrestling and early WWF superstars that had a decent run. And then, of course, we lost in December, which seems to be back to back. Well, no, yeah, November and December, we lost three wrestlers back to back. In November, we lost Pat Patterson, the first ever Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, and I don't really have many stories on Pat that I could speak to, but he was of that golden era with ushering in WrestleMania 1 going forward from 85 in 85. So that was his passing. And then in December, we lost Zeus, better known as Debo, for those of us that grew up watching the Friday franchise and No Holds Barred, his only wrestling movie, but he's more known for playing a thug and a bully thanks to Ice Cube. So we lost him in December. And then on Christmas Day and the day after, we lose Danny Hodge, which I'm not really familiar with him. I think Ric Flair on his IG page shared a great story about his career. And then, of course, the day after Christmas, we lose Brody Lee, better known as Luke Harper. That whole situation is still kind of blurry to me on how we lost him. I'm not sure if anybody could speak on that one a lot better than me. From what I can tell, I thought he was in great health. From what I could tell, he was peaking at the right time with his career. So,
okay.
So that is a look into what was the wrestling world in 2020. And so far, thank goodness we don't have anybody in 2021 from the community right now going through things. So
let's hope it stays that way.
yeah, I don't think the community could handle any more heartache.
Yeah, definitely not.
But that was the wrestling tribute book back in 2020. So now let's
get into the card.
Let's change the subject and let's go on a brighter note. We don't have time for a lot of tissue tonight. We're doing
a review,
Royal Rumble review that has a lot of controversy
and a lot of progressing storylines too.
Yes. We'll start off with what I like to call the Maury Povich home wrecking storyline that is involving Charlotte Flair, her papa Rick, and the home wrecker Miss Southern Belle, Lacey Evans.
Can I just say something? Like at first I was like totally against the storyline, but now I'm getting a little more intrigued because it's now where are they going with this? And as you find out on the first match of the card, which was on the pre-show, where Charlotte teamed with Asuka to defend their tag titles between Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, you know, that storyline began to really progress, and it cost Charlotte and Asuka those titles. So you can definitely see that she's going to make that full transition into a feud with Lacey.
Yeah, I gotta say, let me get some light back here real quick.
Yeah.
Let me real quick. It's about to get dark here shortly. Oh my God. Okay, and we're back. Okay, now we got some light. Now we can actually see some things. But yeah, this whole deal with the storyline behind Charlotte, Lacey, and Rick. Rick is showing Pop that the Temptations were right. Papa was a Rolling Stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And I gotta admit, you couldn't write this script any better unless Jerry Springer was the host behind it. You really couldn't. I don't know what I'm thinking from what I saw from the Go Home show for the Rumble for Monday Night Raw last week. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, my oh my, somebody's trying to move in and kick somebody out. So Lacey's trying to do everything she can to replace Charlotte. And she did a good job coming down with the robe and coming down with the walk and the strut and stuff. So I'm like, my oh my. Ricky, like Lucy said, you got some splaining to do.
So what do you think is going to happen moving forward with the storyline?
Well, they got to have a one-on-one match now. You got to have a one-on-one match now, because how many times will she interfere and distract Charlotte, and how many times will Rick, put somebody else before his own daughter? And that is a topic that most people typically do. WWE is teaching parents who have stepchildren and children with broken homes, hey, you always got to be the number one. Anybody that is coming in to invade said territory, but put on the bootstraps and handle your business.
Oh, that's a very, I'm sorry, that's a very interesting take. But it's pretty, I think for me, I don't think Rick and Lacey are going to wound up being in a on-screen relationship. I don't think so. I'm not going to write off completely, but I think it's just Lacey's way of getting under Charlotte's skin. And I think another important thing to remind ourselves of is that Asuka is the current Raw Women's Champion.
Yes.
And when Charlotte came back, fans were like, "Oh my God!" And like Charlotte, she's gonna get a chance at the straps again, and this, that, and the third. But I think with Charlotte focusing more on Lacey and dealing with that feud, it can open the door for various challengers. And then with Nia and Shayna holding the tag team title straps, and then like the current build up of other tag teams now, I think it just opens the door for various possibilities. So that's kind of like what I got out of the match. I think it was the weaker match on the card.
Yes, I'm surprised it got put. I'm surprised it got the way that they were booking certain matches. I was thinking that they were going to have Raw Women's Tag Team title match, possibly United States Championship match, and possibly a
Raw Tag
Intercontinental Championship match. So they put those three titles, or at least two of those three titles, on the back burner. And they left, of course, the United States Championship. They left it for last night. I'm not sure where they're going to go with the U.S. title, but that says a lot that you have your workers' titles, two of those, on the back burner, and then you put your newly formed tag team titles, and that's your only match. So I can understand it being the weaker of the card. But again, they have an opportunity to build upon it. Where does it go? We'll have to wait and see. We do have the upcoming Elimination Chamber at the end of February. So there is a chance that we could get a rematch possibly with the tag team titles at Elimination Chamber, and hopefully they will do a United States Championship match and an Intercontinental Championship match at Elimination Chamber, and we already know who the champs are going to be heading into that pay-per-view and going forward. So that is my take on the kickoff show match. A little unorthodox, but like I said, you can't. Maury or Jerry could write this better than WWE could. So,
and I think that's basically what that tag team match comes down to. Is basically like I don't know the best way to describe it. It's kind of like a setup match where, everyone that's involved in that match, they're using that match to set up storylines, or at the very least, continue on to the storylines. Like Charlotte, she's going to have her angle with Lacey. Shayna and Nia, they're going to get new tag title challengers, and they already had, last night. Asuka, she's kind of still in limbo, which is kind of upsetting because, she's the main champion. You would figure she'd get the more concrete storylines. But that's
her title reign, I gotta admit, it was good as the NXT champion. It was the longest reigning title reign in NXT. It was great for SmackDown. until WrestleMania 34, where they butchered it, thanks to Charlotte. I hate to say it. And then this whole deal with now getting the championship for Monday Night Raw and being the women's champion, it kind of feels unfulfilled because of how she was granted that title. Not to punish Becky for living her life and doing her thing away from the ring, but we've seen this before. People being given titles when they really haven't earned it. Mm-hmm. And we have to go back to Shawn Michaels, who is notorious for dropping titles, but never dropping them in the ring. They always dropped them via storyline or injury or whatever other reason. I think the only 2 times that he dropped a belt that was clean was WrestleMania 14 because he was forced to do it. And then WrestleMania 23 where he was putting over John Cena. So Asuka as the Raw Women's Champion is unfulfilled. But let's not forget we're getting Becky Lynch back now. Hopefully soon. We're getting her back.
And several comebacks, I've noticed. Charlotte came back. Naomi came back.
Yes.
Becky expected to come back soon. So with these returns, that opens the window for more opportunities and to create more storylines. It really all comes down to.
And I think also what they're doing is they're giving everybody a chance to become Grand Slam champion, which is good. So,
I mean, Becky still has to win the NXT Women's title. No, she didn't win the title while she was in NXT.
So she's unfulfilled. Oh my.
Not unless WWE pulls a Charlotte, like what they did to Charlotte last year, and then send Becky down to NXT to win the title. Then I kind of don't see her completing the Grand Slam. Triple Crown, I can see. But Grand Slam, I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, she'll have to win the tag team titles, WWE tag team titles, and she'll have to win NXT, and then she'll have to participate and win the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yeah.
So there are definitely some good storylines in the women's division that we can go on. It seems like for a while now.
Yeah.
And
let's go ahead and move to the next match. There's like so much we can talk about.
Yeah. So now that the kickoff has been discussed, the next match we have is I don't even know how long it was. Was it a 5 or 7 minute slugfest between
Goldberg
Drew and Goldberg?
This was my least anticipated match. No. And it's not like I have anything against Drew or Goldberg because I was a huge Goldberg fan growing up. And, I appreciated the evolution of Drew. Coming from someone who remembers Drew when he went by his, I don't want to say his pretty boy gimmick, but that's the best way to put it. It was a pretty boy gimmick.
The chosen one gimmick.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if it was a gimmick where him being the chosen one. So when I initially saw this, I'm thinking he's trying to be the modern day Triple H.
Mm-hmm. Because remember when Triple H first came out, he had the slick back hair, the very
his aristocratic type of deal. So, if you all are not familiar with here's another plug, the Stone Cold podcast, Broken Skull, definitely
listen
to his interview with Drew McIntyre He goes into great detail as to what happened to him not fulfilling his dream per se with his first run with the company, as well as what he believed to be a career-defining match with The Undertaker. And unfortunately, that with him not being able to get that role, that ended the career of one of my all-time favorites, Shawn Michaels. Curse you, Undertaker. How dare you end this man's career? How dare you? I still hold you accountable for that. But that was something that he thought he was ready for. And with Goldberg, I saw his first title run. And I'll never forget it for as long as I live. Being in the old Georgia Dome on a hot July night in 1998, his second year in professional wrestling, all the momentum that he had. And it was Hulk Hogan's idea for him to go over and drop the belt to him. So he was not pulling the strings to keep the belt. It was more so, we got a hot guy coming in. Let's see what he's got. And they ran for it. They ran with him for about a year and cursed Kevin Nash for how he got the belt, but he ended the longest reigning undefeated streak next to Oscar. So it was good for him to put over Drew. I do kind of like the Smash Mouth match they did have, similar to what they do with Brock, which I'm surprised we did not get a Brock Lesnar sighting this year. I'm thinking the fans are like,
Brock's coming back for a while.
Oh boy.
He echoed the sentiment himself. So
he must be enjoying his time in South Dakota. I mean, for him to do what he did for Drew as well, to put him over and see the potential in him, was shocking.
I beg to differ. I don't really think it was shocking. I think it was just something that not many fans expected from Brock, and that they didn't really envision Brock putting someone over. So when he actually did, by putting Drew over, it just kind of proved a lot of people wrong, in my opinion.
Which he hasn't put anybody over since Eddie Guerrero. So we know, unless that's all Paul Heyman, maybe Brock's not that big on passing the torch. Maybe that was a Paul Heyman thing.
And that could be the case too.
So that was a hard-hitting 5 or 7 minute match, and for Brock to pass the torch on, for Goldberg to pass the torch on the way that he did, raising his hand.
Show his respect.
I admit the promo was kind of odd for Legends Night. Why
do you think it was odd?
Because it came out of left field. So I'm like, who's going to challenge after Randy Orton did his thing with Drew and and won the title from him, but he wins it back. Okay, so where do we go from here with Drew? Where do we go? Legends Night was, I think, 3 weeks ago now.
3 or 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks ago. So to see him to not have somebody in place for Drew's next opponent, and from what I read via Instagram, that was a last minute decision.
Really?
Was like from what I read from one of the detailed analyzed wrestling pages that I follow, I think they said he was a last minute decision. So I'm not sure if we'll see Goldberg again this year, but he's in great shape to do something with this run. So that is something to look forward to. We may see Goldberg again, Mania, maybe SummerSlam. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, the possibilities are open. So, and I think what kind of took away the hype for me was kind of like the fans' response. And I'm the one
like,
that,
oh yeah, Goldberg, not again.
I try my hardest not to, read a fans' responses on social media, but sometimes it can get really hard. I just feel like the heat that Goldberg gets is unfair in a sense, because I feel like he's still willing to, help younger talent and try to be a source, like a resource to younger talent. And I'm not saying like he's like a complete saint, because there were some instances in his career that he was a complete asshole, and I'm just being honest. But I think in this particular case, I don't really think the backlash was that warranted, because at the end of it all, he did put Drew over, and Drew's still the champion.
Could you elaborate on that backlash? Because I'm not very familiar with the whole detail of. Yeah, I'm not very familiar with why people hate Goldberg with WWE, because he did have his fanfare from WCW, and his contract with Time Warner did go out. So he did come in April of that year of 2003. His first match was and feud was notoriously with The Rock, and then he goes into this deal with Triple H and the World Championship and Evolution. And then where did he go? I'm wondering, where did he go wrong in his first run with WWE? Because not only did we lose Goldberg at WrestleMania 20, we also lost Brock Lesnar, which I'm just assuming his contract was just up, because
I think Brock's contract was up and he wanted to move on to other things. Because I think around that time he started playing professional football. I was talking about Brock.
Yeah, he had a 4-year run, which I didn't realize his run was up that quickly. Being that was Attitude Era, and then the Invasion angles. He was working the dark matches with Shelton Benjamin. So I didn't realize Brock Lesnar had been around that long. I didn't realize he was a big time player until he made his official debut in 2002. So actually, it's not even 18 years that he's been with WWE, or 19 years. It's been 21 years or so, or something like that, if my math is right. So that was the Goldberg. That was the Goldberg segment, per se. We won't even call it a match. I guess that was a segment.
And then the Goldberg, back to what you were asking me about to elaborate, it's basically, I want to say like a generational thing. There are a lot of younger fans who do not think that Goldberg should be going for the title. And it's just as simple as his age, or they don't think he can draw anymore. And
oh boy,
and those certain things. So that was what the backlash was about. And they kind of like, they tend to kind of, I guess, minimize his achievements, his accolades, because during his heyday in WCW and during his run with WWE, like, he was one of the top draws in the entire industry during his heyday. And, his position in the business as a legend is well deserved. And I just think a lot of people kind of diminish his legacy in comparison to other wrestling legends for whatever reason. And it's something that I never really understood. But I think with the match with Drew that was set up for the Royal Rumble, I think that was kind of like the younger fans' excuse to like give him backlash and give him heat.
Maybe it's the nostalgia for us Attitude Era fans that we got to see Goldberg come back after 12 years and still be able to do this at a high level. Of course, his worst match since he's returned is the Super Showdown with the Undertaker. He and Undertaker both admit that was their most disappointing match. So that's out there. Okay, so that's Goldberg, and they gave this match 3 out of 5 stars.
I didn't see the ratings. I mean,
the page that I'm using that has the match card and its ratings. Shout out on IG. Shout out to Wrestling Republic. So if you're seeing this, the person that is over that page, thank you for giving the ratings and your insight on pay-per-view from this past Sunday.
Oh.
So that was the WWE Championship match, and I'm surprised they got that out the way early.
That's what I was thinking too, like the position of the card. I was like, why is this up first? And then with the time length of the match, then I kind of understood. I was like, okay, this kind of makes a little sense, but not really.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't blink. Like, couldn't blink.
It was over in a blink. I was like, I feel like I turned my attention away from the screen for 1 second, and then boom, it was over. And Goldberg was raising Drew's hand at the end of the match.
Yeah, like, geez Louise. Can't even go take a whiz before you see a spear or a jackhammer. Good God. Oh, jeez.
Oh, my God. What's the next one on the card for me?
So the next match on the card was the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Carmella versus Sasha Banks, the boss. And I got it. The MVP of the match, I hate to say it. I really hate to say this. With this whole storyline between her and Carmella.
Don't say it.
Is the valet. Reggie.
I knew it. Reggie. I knew it. I knew you were going to say it.
Poor Reggie. You trying your players card, homie, and you ain't getting out for the bench.
What?
Man.
Oh, in the back of my mind, I was like, please don't say it. Please don't say it. You said it. Oh, poor Reggie. Poor Reggie. I'm calling Reggie. Poor Reggie.
I'm sorry, not Reggie. Reginald, according to Corey Graves. Reginald.
No, it's Reggie. Forget that.
But I got to admit, for him to be a valet, homeboy got some skills.
I mean, maybe he is a trained wrestler.
He got to be because homeboy moonsaulting and loafers and all that. Like, hold on, ain't nobody supposed to be able to do that in loafers and a suit jacket? Jeez.
That's what I'm saying. That had me shook for a moment. I was like, well, okay, is he training at the Performance Center right now? What's going on? What's his deal?
And then in the match that he had Friday night, I'm not sure if it was this past Friday or the Friday that led up to the Rumble, that granted the title match for Carmella. I got Reggie was going in for a minute. I mean, he frustrated Sasha. He got it under her skin a little bit, but go figure. You got to make the champion look strong. So Reggie did what Reggie had to do, and he had to be taken to the woodshed and tap out. You lost some points for that, Reggie. Sorry, buddy. Lost some points for that, man.
I already knew that Sasha was going to win, was at least going to be booked to win that match. I didn't think that they were really going to do it because Sasha had been like beating up on poor Reggie the past couple weeks leading up to that match. I was like, oh, they're really doing this.
Yes.
But
Now, if they do a rematch, there has to be a stipulation because
what kind of
Reggie
stipulation?
did not deserve to get thrown out of the match. He did nothing wrong. All he did was catch Sasha, and the ref threw him out like he was an invader.
That was so wrong. Now I understand he had to interfere, but he didn't do nothing.
Right. But they have to work a little bit better because Carmella did a dive, and I literally thought she almost broke her freaking neck.
That reminded me of that Lita suicide dive, that infamous Lita suicide dive. And I was just like, no, 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 no. I was like, maybe Sasha was positioned too far back. I don't know what the deal was, but I was a little scared. Because when
let's not do that again. But they're gonna have to,
doesn't.
If they run it back, definitely have to clean it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But they do have this at, like I said, 3.5 star rating. So
yeah, I think also out of the two matches that these two had, I think the TLC one was slightly better. I think the movements and the storytelling was slightly more crisp than this time around. But you can tell that they do have good chemistry, and I think their feuds is one of the few feuds that are standing out to me at all of WWE at this point. So I can't wait to see like what happens, moving forward, especially when we have a new Women's Royal Rumble winner and that sort of thing.
Yes. So the next match on the card, we have the Women's Royal Rumble that had the controversy of the nights and the prevention of an elimination of the nights. It was given 4 stars out of 5.
And I knew Bianca was going to win. I was saying it for weeks. Well, I'm just going to put that out there.
Explain it. Well, how is it? Explain this. What is it? Because this is the second time. This is the second time I've heard this. That she's being groomed to win, and we knew we were going to be winning for weeks. I mean, yes, it was her second Royal Rumble. Yes, she eliminated 8 people last year, and she got down. Was she not the Final 4 last year? Because I actually didn't get a chance to view last year's Royal Rumble.
I don't think she was the Final 4 last year. I know the Final 2 were, and that was Charlotte Flair and Shayna Baszler. I don't remember the other 2, unfortunately.
But she did eliminate 8 superstars, and she did have the most creative way to prevent an elimination, thanks to Naomi, who, homegirl, I gotta admit,
she did her thing Sunday night. I was so happy to see her back.
She is the female Kofi Kingston. Yes, I'll say it right here, right now. Naomi is the female Kofi Kingston for the Women's Royal Rumble. And no, she did not get eliminated initially the way that I thought she would. She used the extension of Bianca's hair, which at some point in time, I gotta admit, Bianca, you being able to twirl your hair like a jump rope, girlfriend, you gonna get got by your hair one day. You gonna get got by your hair one day. I'm
scared when she uses that braid because I'm just like, please don't let it get caught nowhere.
I mean, and I will say this. She did eliminate herself from the Royal Rumble. There is close footage.
I saw that photo. I saw that photo the next day, and I guess I didn't catch it. I saw it on TV.
Yes, the official missed that call. Shame on him. Her feet were on the ground.
Yeah, we caught it. And I saw a meme. It was like a Simpsons meme. And on the bottom, it was like, wait a damn minute. And I was like, oh shit, she did eliminate herself. I guess I must got a little too hyped and excited because it was her, Rhea Ripley. They were the final two. And I was like, all right, Bianca, let's go. So I didn't see it. And I was like, oh damn.
No, but see, I'm gonna tell you, I wonder if we're going to get Rhea Ripley's call up to the main roster.
Oh,
because
coming.
if we do,
It's coming.
If we do, and if she comes to SmackDown or Raw, depending on where Bianca decides to challenge, which I believe she has a better chance of fighting Sasha and beating Sasha. She ain't ready for Asuka. I don't care how much CrossFit you do. I don't care how much training you do.
Yeah, I agree.
She'll break you with the strikes and what have you. She'll break you with the strikes. But of course, Asuka has to get rid of this mental roadblock with Alexa being the Fiend's.
I want Asuka and Alexa to go at it again, but I want Asuka to bring back her dark persona, even if it's just for one night. And it's kind of like a way to like be like an equalizer against Alexa. But that's a whole new story.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to see this persona because I have no idea of anything about that persona at all. I don't. I must be in for a treat.
Yeah, you will. You'll enjoy it. But let's dig a little deeper. Let's dig a little deeper into the women's Royal Rumble. What did you think about the returns of like past women's wrestlers?
Well, I did also hear like the comment of the night with some of these returns. One being Jillian Hall, and we all remember what she used to look like back in the day. She had that huge regurgitated looking scar on her face.
Oh my god.
And it made you go bleh, bleh, bleh. But thank God that the boogeyman ate it. Thank God he ate it.
Oh my god.
So with that being said, someone in a chat said that looked like she'd been enjoying farm life and got thick, really, really thick over her time away from the ring. Don't ask me why.
No comment.
Hello. But yeah, that was a comment of the night. But we saw her, Jillian Hall. We saw Tori Wilson. We saw Alicia Fox, who became if it is not the second or the third female to win the 24/7 championship.
Smack dab in the middle of the match.
And I gotta admit, somebody also said having that to happen during the match took away from the spotlight for all the women. I totally agree with that statement.
Yeah, they could have did that backstage, but I think for me it was kind of funny how it happened. I think it's because Alicia always been one of my all-time favorites because she's just so entertaining and like her facial expressions and like her movements are just so natural. Like she's naturally funny. So that's what I found hilarious about it when she won the title.
I honestly did not, from what was said about her, that she was recovering from an injury and she was recovering in rehab. Mm-hmm. I didn't know she was dealing with those issues.
I know a little bit about it, especially like the rehab part. Did not know about the injury part. So that's new to me. But yeah, she was recovering through a lot. It's kind of like why she went silent, like back in I think 2019-ish. That's when she had like went silent. But yeah, it was good to see her back.
Because she did, if I'm not mistaken, she did return for Legends Night.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Okay, so it was good to see her back.
And
For that.
another legend that I was so happy to see back was Victoria. Oh my God.
Tina Marie. If I'm mistaken, Tina Marie. If that's her legal name, because she also did a stint in Impact Wrestling.
And Tara. I think I like the Tara character more than the Victoria character. All those like is very similar, but I think the Tara one was a little more badass. I just loved all of Lisa Marie's work. She's amazing. So I was shook when she walked out.
And I actually thought she retired from the ring. From what she said, she initially.
I think she's semi-retired. I don't think she's fully retired. She may very well be fully retired. I just didn't catch that. But last time I checked, I think she was semi-retired.
Actually, I do follow her on IG, and I think she did have a last message. She said, "I'm thankful that I don't have that many serious injuries, and I'm able to, live my life fully functional." So to see her come back at the Rumble, I was like, oh, really?
I was so hyped. Man, I was so hyped.
Like I said, and the hype that we got from the Rumble by the Legends returning is a lot like us if you follow Impact Wrestling with some of their TNA knockouts.
I love the knockouts.
Jazz still going strong, and she thought about retiring this year, but was persuaded by Jordan Grace to continue. And she's still healthy, so I mean,
yeah,
I say you go out on your own terms.
So back to the Rumble. Firstly, who did you pick to win? I picked Bianca. Who did you pick?
Honestly, I did not have a pick because they really did not put much. It was a lot of mystery with the Rumble. There was a lot of mystery to it.
Can you elaborate on that? Like being a mystery, can you elaborate on like how it was like a mystery to you?
In story, and I guess I'm saying this because I guess we have a general manager in Adam Pearce.
I wouldn't call him a general manager. I think he's just like an official who's like playing general manager. And that's another thing.
Because what he's doing is he was like, okay, Natalya has to earn her way into the Royal Rumble, but Nikki, you go ahead and get in. You know what I'm saying? You're letting certain people just automatically qualify, and then you have those surprises, and you have those they have to earn their way in. So, like I said, the return of Naomi was great. Bayley did a decent performance. Honestly, looking back at it now, I think my pick was the person that got robbed of the Rumble. I didn't really have one going into it, but looking at it, I'm gonna say my pick, who's the person that got robbed, is Rhea Ripley.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think a lot of the speculation, like with the fueling speculation, of Rhea comes to the roster. Like she was actually my first pick, but then after a while, I saw how Bianca was like progressing on SmackDown, and she's got this angle with Bayley going on, and then alongside the admiration of the fans, I was like, okay, this kind of makes the most sense to me. So that's why I end up like
well, yeah, she
choosing
is
Bianca as my
the
final pick.
EST of everything.
Yeah. So that's why I went with Bianca as my final pick.
But of course, like I said, there's going to be controversy, and Adam better be ready Friday night to have Bayley, Natalya, and whoever else was involved with the Women's Royal Rumble toward the end to have some type of match. And I hate to say this, we're going to go, if that happens, we're going to put a storyline together where Bianca's going to have to put up her title shot on a line in a match.
That could be a possibility.
And that has not been done since HBK put his title shot on the line against the King of Hearts, Owen Hart, in Your House 6 back in '96. So, bless you.
Thank you.
So, Adam Pearce, this Friday night, get ready, because as nice of a fairy tale story as it is for Bianca to win the Rumble and possibly be the second African-American female to win the championship, with Naomi I'm sorry, not second. She'll be the third.
The third. Naomi was the first African American SmackDown Women's Champion.
Well,
Sasha. Then it would be her.
No, I'm sorry. You're forgetting somebody. Actually, she was the first. Miss Jackie.
Oh yeah, way back when she won the women's title. I thought you were just like talking about the SmackDown women's title, not like overall.
Well, no, well, yeah. SmackDown will be she'll be the second African American female to win that, but overall, she'll be the third African American to win the women's championship. So there's progress in Black History Month, y'all. We making it. It's coming. It's coming. And so
I'm here for it.
Yeah. So that was the Women's Royal Rumble, 4 out of 4 stars.
On to the next one.
And we had that. I'll admit, we had that Rocky moment. For those who don't know what I mean by Rocky moment, the moment at the end of the first film where the reporter's talking to Rocky and he's overcome with emotion because he survived a 15-round fight with Apollo Creed. Bianca had her moment with Kayla Braxton, and she's overcome with emotion. Baby, I did it, Mama, I did it, and cue the waterworks. And
I was emotional. I didn't burst out crying, but I was a bit emotional.
Like, okay, we get it. You're the EST of WWE. You do everything great. There ain't one thing you don't do great. I do everything great. I get it. I mean, but was it worth the waterworks? Not so much. But that
Be
was
careful.
the whip.
Be careful. You said it, not me.
Nah, I don't need her to come after me.
I don't want nobody sliding.
I don't want to deal with.
I don't want nobody in my DMs talking about, oh, I saw your YouTube video and your homie, he's out of line. I don't want that. So I'm just letting them know he said it, not me.
Oh no, I mean all respect for her doing her thing. No doubt about it. I didn't even know she was this well known of an athlete, because we do get a lot of those athletes that come from CrossFit, that come from the bodybuilding world or the modeling world. But she legitimately can hoop, run track. For all I know, she could probably play football. For all I know.
She didn't say. Right.
So if she could play some football, NFL, any teams that refuse to sign Colin Kaepernick, come holler at your girl Bianca. She'll get you right.
All right. With that note, we're gonna move on to the next match. We just gonna keep it moving.
So the next match of the night was the Falls Count Anywhere match. I don't know why we keep calling it that, and instead of it being either a street fight or a no holds barred match, we just call it Falls Count Anywhere, like a PG thing. Like we can't really
they're
call
all
it what we want to
essentially
call
the
it. So
same thing, right?
It's all the same deal. Yeah, it's all the same deal.
I figured that.
And I gotta admit, kind of like you just warned me, you don't want nobody to come after nobody because of what I'm saying about Bianca. This storyline with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns as the tribal chief, luckily this time he won this on his own.
Yes.
Without kinfolk. Without kinfolk, you won this opportunity, which was good.
Mm-hmm. I think with this match,
I gotta say,
I hate to interrupt you, but I think with this match, it was kind of the weaker of the two matches that they had together. I think TLC was much better, in my opinion. I think
because of the interference from Jay, who literally Jay was like, you know what?
That was the storytelling part of it, though. That's why I like the TLC part better. And I think what made this one kind of weaker, in my opinion, was kind of like the spots that they took during the match. I don't know if it was the camera work or whatever, but there were some spots where, I don't want to start nothing, but I don't think some of the spots were really sold well.
Oh yeah.
And it was kind of, I think towards the end it was kind of botchy too.
Yes.
Go ahead, throw that out there. So that's what kind of took some points away from me. But with the TLC, like I know, with the whole interference from like Kim folks and whatnot, it may not sit well with everybody, but I think with the way Jey Uso went about it, and I think he deserves a lot more credit in this storyline. I don't think he gets enough credit when it comes to how he played his role in the storyline, but I think there was definitely a storytelling aspect when he interfered in the match at TLC, because it was kind of like, oh, I'm going to do whatever it takes to, have my spot at the table or, get the respect of, my family or the tribal chief, so to speak. So that's why I kind of enjoyed TLC more. I think with Royal Rumble, you could tell they were trying to, do some new things, take some risk, like the spots that they were putting on, and it kind of really defeated the purpose. So it kind of took away some points, at least in my opinion.
Well, it was kind of like a little bit over the place a little bit, but there were two spots that made me go, whoa. There were only two spots in that match that made me go,
spots? Which two spots? Because I think I know where you're going. Which two spots are you talking about?
The spot where Kevin is hitting the swan-time bomb, and Michael Cole is like, "What are you doing? Stop it! Get down from there!" Acting like a father figure.
Oh yeah.
and holy, like, and Corey Graves was like, "Damn it, Kevin! You should learn your lesson from WrestleMania. What are you doing? Stop it!" And he does it anyway, and it goes. You're just like, damn. Okay. And then the spot, I think the spot before that was where Roman was driving a go-kart.
That was the best part for me. And I think the camera work was crazy on that.
He decided to do the Kiki drive-by.
Oh my God.
Kiki drive-by. All I could think about when I saw that Kiki, and then You Love Me, and Q Drake, and then, damn, somebody got hit because they weren't paying attention on their phone. Damn. That's
That
all.
was that was crazy. When I tell you that was insane, and the camera work actually did it justice with the way that he crashed onto Kevin, and then like the camera work kind of enhanced it. It was
Yeah, and the only thing that cracked was the plexiglass window, and so I mean, those are the only two spots that made me go, ooh, like okay, we're going somewhere with this. Okay, I can get behind this a little bit, but now that Roman has defeated Kevin Owens and put him in the rearview mirror, now my concern is if they decide to do anything with him for the Universal Championship, who's next in line?
exactly, and that's the issue that I have is just like, who are the contenders? Where are the contenders? You understand? Like
Right,
they're
which they
some
haven't
there,
established anybody.
but where are they at? And then with the men's Royal Rumble, I might as well just go ahead and say it anyways. With Edge winning, and I already have a feeling, although I so badly want him to face off against Roman, I have like this feeling that they're probably gonna put him against Drew. And
Well,
I hope
actually,
I hope
I
I'm
meant to say
proven
this.
wrong.
I meant to say this. I never would have expected Edge to come back last year, moment of the year, regardless of all that went on in the wrestling community. His return last year, by far best ever for last year.
It was insane.
And then for him to run the gauntlet and be the second man from the number one spot to run the gauntlet and outlast 29 others. Yeah, dope. Dope moment. Let's see here. Are we ready? Are we gonna just jump into that men's Royal Rumble spot? I believe.
Yeah, we might as well because I kind of jumped ahead a bit. We can go ahead.
Yes, that one got 4.5 stars. Now that, unfortunately, like I said, I did not get to watch it entirely, but what I did catch, I caught the very tail end of it. And for me, based on what I was reading via social media after the event occurred, the moments that got everybody to go, whoa, the return of the Hurricane, who tried to reenact a double choke slam.
What he did with Stone Cold and The Rock.
With Biggie, yes. Shane, come on, dog. I mean, look, the Hurricane has been grounded now, buddy. You
get I can't stand him.
I can't. Like, come on, G.
I'm done. But I guess to go ahead and elaborate, there were some other returns. Carlito, he returned, looking in the best shape of his life, may I add.
He hasn't looked. Wait a minute now. The last time I saw Carlito, I'm trying to remember. I don't recall. I believe that was with his cousin Primo and Epico. And the whole, for one thing, I thought he was scheduled to come in because I didn't know he re-signed with the company and did his do whatever he was doing. I thought he was scheduled to come back in for Legends Night.
That's what I thought too.
And he said, no, there was just a scheduling conflict and I was not advertised. So for those who thought I would be, I apologize for that, but that's on WWE.
There were some misadvertisements for the Legends Night. I think, I don't want to flat out say misadvertisements, but I think it came off that way because a lot of people were expecting those people in the advertisement to be there, but they didn't show up. And then some of them went on Instagram or Twitter themselves and was just like, I'm not going to be there.
Yeah. But to see him come back, brothers in shape, and he had a tag team match last night with Jeff Hardy.
It felt like 2006, 2008 all over again. Like it took me back.
Right.
I was like, is this a flashback? What is going
Yes,
on
it's a
right now?
flashback. Yes. But if 2020 taught us anything with Edge's return, we've always said this for the last 9 years after Edge's return. We want one more match. One more match. And I thought we were going to get that match with the no holds barred storyline that Randy was doing, as now I'm no longer the legend killer. I'm the legend now. Toward the end of last year, once Edge returned and did his no holds barred, his greatest wrestling match, and unfortunately tore his pectoral muscle. Christian came back that next night, did a fight with Randy, and we thought that was going to be the end of that. But to our surprise, he shows up when it's on Sunday night, and he's entered in the Royal Rumble. So there were a lot of surprises and a lot of shockers that made me go, are we really going to have Edge and Christian possibly go at it one-on-one?
Or
for a championship
reunite
match?
as a tag team?
I mean, if they do that, you have to go after either the Hurt Business or Glorious Show. You'll have to go after one of them. And I think you'd want to go after Glorious Show.
I just think it looks better to me.
Because believe it or not, there's history between Christian and Robert Roode.
Exactly, TNA days.
Yes, there's history behind them. Edge and Dolph have their history as well. During the early days of Friday Night SmackDown.
Yeah, and then like mid 2000s, early 2010s, but they had the rivalry for the World Heavyweight title, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
This was back when Ziggler was with Vicky Guerrero, and they had like that long-term weird relationship. But on to the next.
Yes.
So it on paper and given a historical significance of like rivalries, and it makes more sense. But I wouldn't be against them going against the Hurt Business either. That could be an interesting.
Well, I mean, Hurt Business, you ain't got it. You ain't just dealing with MVP. You dealing with Lashley too. So whomever is going to represent the Hurt Business, because it's in the camp, it can be Shelton and MVP. It can be MVP and Cedric. So either way, you have to really be ready if you're going to choose the Hurt Business. But it would be cool to have a feel-good, nostalgic moment like we got in 2017 when the Hardys returned and they won the Raw Tag Team titles and then went on to SmackDown and became the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So you'll have some type of storyline or some type of way, if they decide to continue this thing, then we might get a dream match of sorts. So, and Braun Strowman returning the Friday before the Rumble and looking in the best shape of his life.
I know. I've been following him on Instagram.
Pounds.
I've been following him on Instagram, looking at his workout videos.
As am I.
I'm just like, he's more monstrous than ever now.
God, if I could have the ability to do that, forget if I had my mindset to do the workout that these guys do. If I just had the body to back it up, my God, the way these guys look, I don't even know if he's on the juice.
You never know.
It would be something if he was, though. My God.
So, who was your initial pick to win the men's Royal Rumble?
Now let's see, the men's Royal Rumble. Honestly, I was going to go, and a lot of people had him as the odds-on favorite. Bobby Lashley, dude, is a two-time United States champion. He's a two-time United States champion.
Intercontinental champion.
Well, Intercontinental champion, and he has yet to have a major title match since his departure back in WrestleMania 23.
And when he went to Impact Wrestling, you know, they gave him straps.
He was the dog in the Impact Wrestling.
Him and MVP were running things when they were in Impact as the beatdown.
He was that dog. I mean, you would have, for those who have not seen Bobby Lashley post WWE his first run, look up Impact Wrestling on Impact Plus and look at his title reign. Homeboy, man, him against Moose, him against, I believe, Kurt Angle. Homeboy had that. Whoo.
He was making major moves.
Yes, and for him to not have a singles run at a heavyweight championship in WWE outside of ECW is insulting. MVP ought to be knocking down Adam Pearce's door and say, give my man a title shot.
I have a feeling that, you know, with his U.S. title run, I feel like he's going to lose the strap soon, and which I'm hoping that's the case, because I just want to see how he will thrive, like as like a world champion for WWE. Like, I just want to see what that's like.
He's in great shape, so I don't think he's injured or anything. I want to say he's quoted as saying that his managerial storyline with MVP and with that storyline that he had with Lana before Rusev was rudely fired or quit or what have you. He said he feels rejuvenated by that.
I can see why.
But he felt like he was babysitting when he was dealing with Leo Rush. He felt like he was babysitting.
So for me, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really have a concrete winner for the men's Royal Rumble, which was insane because I was like, why is this the case? And then that kind of like that shining light moment when I heard Edge's promo, which is one of the best promos I've heard in a while. And then, you know, the breaking news of Edge and Randy Orton being #1 and #2 entrants. I started putting two and two together. So I was like, okay, this all makes sense. And now it's just
he has to win the Rumble.
Like,
he's going to win the championship.
Obvious. Like, why would they do that? Have that promo and then announce him and Randy being #1, #2 entrants. They wouldn't have done that for nothing. And it just adds on to Edge's comeback story. So it's like, okay, this makes sense. So I went with Edge.
But like I said, I hope I'm wondering where we're gonna go with the Universal Championship, because last night we were given our challenger for the WWE Championship, which I caught middle tail end of that promo. Edge is telling Drew to wake up. Don't take me lightly. Don't praise me because I'm an opportunist, and I will take your head off if you take me lightly.
But then again, you know, Sheamus, he's kind of like sneaking his way into the title picture too. You know, he's trying to, you know, stay.
And he did.
Well. So it's just like, what's up with that?
And yet he did. He did pick his moment, because I thought he was coming to defend Drew. Little did I know he was coming to stab him in the back and say, I'm willing to throw away my 15-year friendship with you. Give me a shot at the belt. And Drew, all he's gonna say is, man, all you had to do was ask. I would have given you a title shot.
That could, that's kind of low key, like undermining Sheamus and underestimating Sheamus. Maybe that's in my view, but what he's saying is just like, okay, we're friends. So in a way, I know you better than you know yourself, and I can one up you. So it just kind of feels like that's the vibe that he's giving off. So I think he's just underestimating both Edge and Sheamus, if you think about it. Unless I'm thinking too deeply.
He is, and that hopefully we'll see where it goes, because what people were hoping we got from the men's Royal Rumble as well as the women's Royal Rumble was that Alexa Bliss would win the women's Royal Rumble.
She was a favorite of mine, but Bianca was my final pick.
But again, not as what just happened here?
Is everything okay?
Yeah, something just happened here. Oh, here we go.
Technical difficulties.
There we go.
People.
Some other stuff popped up. That's all right. But yeah, that's what we were hoping, and I thought we were going to see that transition that she does.
Yeah, but they eliminated her before it happened. I was just like, well, what's the point?
You know what? But you know what? I know why. I know exactly why they did it, because
elaborate.
Looking at the last two matches that she's had, when she does her transition, it looks like she supers a lot. If you ever do cyber wrestling type stuff or whatever, you have those people who don't feel anything at all, not a punch, not a kick or anything. And it's like once she transitions from Happy Lexa to Psycho Lexa, it's like, punch, nothing. Kick, nothing. So it's kind of like, well, let's not, if she supers everybody, we ain't got time for this. So Rhea Ripley, thank you for doing that.
Okay, when you explain it like that, it makes sense. Thank you for schooling me on that. That makes much better sense. Because when she got eliminated so fast, I was like, well, damn. What was that about? But that makes much more sense.
It's like, yep, like if I don't care, like with what Asuka was doing with her 2 weeks ago, and then the title rematch, she couldn't land a punch. She could. It was like everything that she did, no effect whatsoever. Like, really, Asuka's the most hardest hitting competitor, and nothing she's doing is affecting you. I
guess it's like a handful for her character.
Yeah. But I'm still trying to figure out that whole thing with Bray Wyatt and Alexa, because I'm like, where is this going? I still hadn't figured it out. I didn't know that just saying the Fiend would transfer into Sleepy Hollow, and then she'd wake up and now she's just Carrie.
It's a mind-boggling experience. That's all I have to say about that. So overall, what would you rate this pay-per-view out of 10?
Well, for that, out of 10, let's see, what did they give this rating? They gave this whole deal, if I'm not mistaken, they gave it an 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
They gave this whole pay-per-view an 8 out of 10.
What do you think? What is your
perspective? For me, based off of what I saw, in some of the moments, I'm gonna go with a 7, possibly 7 out of 10, just to say that they did put in more work and more storytelling. They did put more work in than they did from TLC, and the lacklusteredness in the storytelling and some of the results that were not surprising per se. And with that, excuse me just a second. Just a second. So, in the last video, we gave TLC rating of a 5 and a 6. For those who don't remember me doing this last time around, that was this. Sad face, WWE, 5 out of 6.
I forgot about that.
TLC 2020. That was this. But for the Royal Rumble 2021, so far, that being the first pay-per-view of the year, you get the happy face. Yes. You get the happy face. Yes.
Okay, so on my end, mine is slightly higher. I said 7.5. And my reasoning behind it being, one, the men's Royal Rumble being the highlight of the night for me. And just basically, I don't want to say last minute build up, but kind of like the sudden build up, the return of Edge. He's cutting this very, very, I don't want to say heartfelt, but that's the best way to describe it. A very heartfelt promo about making his return and, moving forward with his career. And then him and Orton being announced as number 1, number 2 entrants. And then Edge pretty much running the gauntlet and outlasting all 29 other entrants to win. So that was like the biggest highlight for me. And then along with me, pretty much with all my predictions, all my other predictions, I kind of like accurately predicted all the other matches on the card. So I did a clean sweep of my predictions, which I'm really happy about. With matches like Sasha Banks versus Carmella and Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens, their TLC showings were definitely stronger. But, you can tell that they're still progressing, with their storylines. And now that both Sasha and Roman retained their titles, now we're kind of trying to figure out what our next steps in regards to their reigns. We kind of know Sasha's, but we're not entirely sure about Roman's. So that's kind of concerning for me. And then, with Drew and Goldberg, that wasn't something that I was personally looking forward to. But, it was an interesting way to start the night, with a world title match. That's not something you see often in a WWE pay-per-view. And then with the pre-show tag team title match between Baszler and Jackson, Charlotte and Asuka. And basically, it's kind of like a setup match. Like I said, they're setting themselves up from various storylines. Charlotte with Lacey, Asuka's kind of in limbo. We don't know what's going to happen with her just as yet. And then, Shayna and Nia, they're already getting new challengers for the tag titles. So that's kind of like the landscape of why I chose 7.5. So it's a happy face for me too. It's definitely a step up from TLC, and you can tell that there's a lot of windows opening, various storylines. So it's going to be a lot to unpack, as we get closer to WrestleMania.
Which is 67 days away from today. Absolutely. At Raymond James Stadium. Home to Super Bowl 55 this Sunday. Plug CBS, Tampa, Kansas City. Watch it if you must. But one side note, there is a moment that was not even that was a part of the Royal Rumble, but there was also kind of away from the Rumble that made me laugh hysterically.
What is it?
And this was during the pre-show kickoff. Peter Rosenberg. Peter Rosenberg.
Who he won the 24/7 title?
Sir, you get this.
That was so funny.
Peter Rosenberg. You had JBL and company going, what the heck?
I was in tears. I saw a clip of it. I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw a clip. I was in tears. And why did they do that?
Come on, man. That's kind of like Pat Mac. So that means if Peter Rosenberg can win the WWE Championship and be on the pre-show, now I understand why Pete McAfee is doing what he's doing with his podcast and working with the Undisputed Era. And
Pat is a badass. I love Pat. Pat's the homie. And he can actually go in the ring too. Like,
yes, he did. He showed his backside at NXT TakeOver War Games. Oh my!
Don't even get me started on the promos, man. He cut. He's just a good trash talker, and that's like football. You know, that's natural. Football players talk trash, and that's where he got it from. But
yes, they do.
I love him on the mic, man. I love him.
Yes, they do. They talk trash. Oh yes. I mean, and I got this whole promo, this whole character thing with R-Truth. That's one other. I don't know what's up with homeboy. Is he smoking? Yeah, he must be doing. He must be on something for them to just say here.
I would find it so hard to work with him because you see him on Raw Talk and how like even something like the heels, they're trying to keep character and they have a hard time keeping character because they're trying not to laugh at him. I was like, what the hell is wrong with
you? Can't. He's kind of like, and I hate to do this to him. And I've seen R-Truth before. Don't do it
to him.
I mean, credit him for being a heavyweight champion in Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, he was a serious competitor back in those days. I feel like people kind of sleep on him, though.
Credit him for working with Road Dogg because that's the thing that people don't get. People think that R-Truth is like new to WWE. No, he's not. He
has over 20 years of overall experience.
Yeah, I don't know what he did, and I don't know what he did after to get in the business, but for him to come in during the Attitude Era with Road Dogg, that was dope. And then for him to leave and get a run down in Impact Wrestling and do his thing, that was great too. So yeah, he's got legitimate Hall of Fame ish credibility. If I could go that far.
You never know. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if he was without sensibility.
But on a serious tip, his character on screen, oh God, I gotta knock on wood, man. This man is acting like Cole Brown from Martin.
Shut up. No. Not Cole. You're not gonna play him like this.
It was either him or Waldo and Weasel, whichever one. It was either one of them three now.
Oh hell, no, not Cole now.
It's like You're good, man. But some of your mind be someplace else, because
I can't.
I mean,
I can't. I can't.
Oh God, I didn't want to do it, but I mean, well, last Royal Rumble that did it for me when they did the thing with the whole universal 24/7 championship during the women's Royal Rumble match. Him losing it to Peter Rosenberg, had JBL looking cross-eyed like, what just happened? I mean, what do we say to something like that?
So I think we can go ahead and wrap up on that note.
God, might have
the
to,
cold. I can't.
Oh, and also, before I forget, this week apparently is also the 4-year anniversary of WWE Champions, the mobile game.
Really?
Yes, and they are giving us a playable character that is in the Hall of Fame.
Who is it?
From their celebrity wing, and I cannot believe I'm saying this.
Snoop Dogg?
But, ladies and gentlemen, if you play in the game, if you download the game right now, and you happen to play the game, you will. And they have a tour right now, for all players to participate in.
Who is it?
If you play this tour, you will get the Hall of Famer, the one and only Sasha Banks's
I know
cousin,
it's Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Diggo Double Jizzle. Yes.
I know good and well. Oh my God.
Yes.
All right. So we want to thank y'all. If you made it to the end of this video, we want to thank y'all for joining us. Dexter couldn't join us this time around, but he will definitely be able to join us when we review Elimination Chamber, which is not too far away from now.
3 weeks from Sunday, I believe.
Yeah. So you will hopefully get to see all three of us on one big old Zoom meeting, and thanks to Derrick again for offering his expertise and showing
And
up.
some comedy, why not?
It's great. All for the love of wrestling, right?
Yes. We may need to come up with a name for the show and some kind of theme song. Hey, I'll try to work with that one too. So
yeah, most definitely. Let's keep it going. So until next time, we'll see y'all later.
be easy, y'all.
Much love.